Good morning, everybody, and welcome to DADBEAR.Downtime and a quick build video. We're going to be making a small grid miner that we hope to use for our Cascadia Dreams series. I need this, so I want to kind of put together an idea of the design that I want so that it functions how I need it to, and at the same time I want to take this opportunity to test a couple of features I've heard about in a couple of mods. So we are going to load up a creative world so that we can design this, go through it, kind of troubleshoot it, test fly it, make sure it does everything that we want it to do before we try building it in game, in a scenario, in a survival environment. So I figured I'd bring you guys along with this. And you just, I hope you enjoy the video. If you got any suggestions or anything, throw it in the comments. Hopefully my capture software is going to work the way I hope it will, and we'll be good to go. I have a test world that I use already created, but I do want to go over what my recommendations are if you're going to do this. And I do recommend that you do this. Using a creative world to kind of work out your design, test different platforms, and that sort of thing. So test world is mine. We're going to click on that, and then we're going to go over to settings because I want to show you the things that you want to make sure that you have. Of course, this is going to be a creative world. The advanced isn't so much important, with the exception of a couple of recommendations I'm gonna make. Inventory size doesn't really matter because in creative you can carry unlimited amount. But I would recommend that you disable sun rotation, just so that you've constantly got light, and then take off your block limits unless you've got prescribed block limits where you want to build this in your survival scenario. Backup saves, that's totally up to you. I would make sure that you've got in-game scripts enabled, because we're going to be testing. I want anything that can cause damage to be enabled. So thruster damage, let's see, subgrid damage, friendly rocket damage. I am not going to turn on progression unless you feel like fighting NPCs while you're trying to build. I would go ahead and turn off spiders and wolves. I have drones and cargo ships and all that kind of stuff enabled, but that's really unimportant to me, so we're going to continue to do that. I would go ahead and disable weather system, as well as yeah, I mean that's probably it. You should be good after that. Alright, so if we go over to our mods, there's only a few things I'm going to recommend. Build info, build vision, whatever the latest version is, happens to be 3.0. Text HUD API, and Sneaky Sounds by Splitsy, just in case you end up doing any welding or grinding or anything. Just keeps the noise down. So we'll go ahead and load this up, and this is going to be on Earth-like planet. I'm using the Earth-like planet for this test and build because in Cascadia Dreams the planet Cascadia has similar characteristics to Earth. So we're going to be building a plunge miner, which means it drills vertically. Ideally, what I would like to have is a highly functional. It doesn't have to be ridiculously pretty. And I'm if any of you have noticed, it will come as no surprise that I am a primarily functional designer when I can, or when I have the creative spark. Aesthetics and appearances definitely come into play, but it's not my strong suit. So I would highly functional vertical plunge miner, or quarry miner. That's another way you can call this. It is atmospheric. I have made a hydrogen miner before, plunge miner for the moon. And I'll tell you right now, if you are on a planet that has any type of atmosphere, if you can use a wind turbine there, you want to use atmospheric. Don't bother with hydrogen as a primary propulsion source. You can use it to augment, but I would not use it for primary. It just will not hold up. It doesn't have to be huge. It does not have to have a tremendous payload capacity. I want easy to build and something that somebody would be able to at least start putting together early in the survival game. So it's not going to take a ton of resources. It's not going to take a lot of advanced components. It's something that can be easily built. So here we are on our Earth-like planet, my test planet. You can see I've got a bunch of stuff around that I have been working on. We are currently going to use the setup I have in our Cascadia Dreams Lake Outpost as our build station here. So let's go ahead and put down what we need. We are going to be using a, like I said, it's going to be small grid. So we're going to start that process off with a landing gear. All right. Craziness here. I think what I would like for this miner to have is just a single large cargo container, small grid. The reason I'm doing that is because it has the same cargo capacity as a large grid small cargo container. And yet it is less resource intensive to build than a small large grid cargo container. It doesn't require any metal grids. We're gonna move out here. Since different ores have different weights, I tend to play the over capability card for things like thrust. I would rather be safe than sorry. The only time I will usually roll the dice is on a planet with normal gravity. Atmospherics, I do not tend to put down thrusters because gravity will do that work for you. That can bite you in the end, but that's one of the risks you take. Cockpits. I'm just kind of a big fan of this cockpit when it comes to small grids. I haven't tried the cab cockpit with plunge miner though, so this might be something we can work with. In fact, why don't we try that? Let's see, is that tall enough? That might not be tall enough. Let's go up a little bit more. One of the things I wanted to try with this video is a tool that's available in the build vision that I heard about, and we're going to play with that a little bit. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it'll do what I'm hoping it does. So. Try that there. See if we can work with that. I think we can. So again, one large cargo container for our build. my initial thoughts are that we're probably going to be going with 4 large atmospheric thrusters for lift. That is probably way overkill, but like I said, I tend to prefer to go a little bit over the top with that. So I'm not sure if this is gonna, the conveyor placement on these cab cockpits with the 2 down on the lower corners does make this a little bit more challenging. I think we're going to end up having to use a, we'll take a look at this first. Now, since this is a miner and it carries or can travel through the small conveyor ports, so we don't need to worry about not being able to get something either into or out of the ship because of that. Let me try something else here. We're going to put a conveyor converter here. That might give us something we can work with. It's a little bit different. We'll drop that out. And let's see what we get here. Remember, your large cargo containers, they have 6 sides. You got 3 with small conveyor ports, and you got 3 with large conveyor ports. You want to make sure you've got the correct ones lined up when you're setting up your ship. Should we go high with this? I think we might do this. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go large conveyors are going to be forward, back, and down. Plop that right in the middle of the cab. No, let's go 1 block higher. Not in the middle of the cab, we're going to go to the top center of the cab. Leave this space here. We're going to do that for a couple of reasons. That's going to leave us a gap to work with that we're going to use. And we'll set that up there. This particular plunge miner is not going to be stone discriminant. We're not going to be putting any kind of sorters or special devices that get rid of stone so that you can just focus on the ore. Again, as a beginner, at the beginning, beginning of the game in survival, when you're looking, when you're gathering resources, stone is still useful for a while. So we want to be collecting stone. Okay. Alright, so these, there is no conveyor path between any of these blocks right now. So we're going to have to establish one. And that's easy enough. We're going to do that with a small conveyor. We're just going to plop that in there. If you want to go less resources, you can just go with a tube. Of course, we don't have any power associated with this yet, so that's why it's red. Speaking of power, we'll probably want to go ahead and get that taken care of. But one of the things we want to do before that is for any rover, you're going to want to make sure you have certain things you need. You need your thrusters, you need power, and you need control. Control comes in the form of cockpits and gyroscopes. So, because when these miners get full, they can get kind of difficult to move around. I would not go any less than 2 gyroscopes. Let's try to take care of some of this power. We're going to use large small grid batteries. I am a fan of the Warfare battery. Do not want to cover up your conveyor port. Did I do that with it? Yeah, I did. Okay. Just to make sure we're being symmetrical here. So now we have power, we have control. We'll be adding thrust. Let's go ahead and get our drills placed so we can get our drill pattern. Let's see. Oh, not having a mouse is driving me nuts right now. Okay, so we're going to need drills, so the tool there will give us those. We're going to go ahead and need thrusters, so let's go ahead and add our atmospheric thrusters. We'll use the sci-fi. You're also going to need an ore detector, and I also recommend going ahead and setting up your grid with an antenna. Now there's a couple of other things that we're gonna put in here a little later for optional stuff, but for right now that's what we're gonna be dealing with. Okay, so your drill has 3 conveyor ports. You've got 1 on each side, and then you've got 1 small one. These are all small, so this is what my currently thinking for our setup. We're actually going to go with 6 drills, but right now we're just getting the first 4 in place. Now here's where I want to test this capability. So with Build Vision, if you have your tool out and you hit Control, you can scroll down and see the different settings that can be made. You can also see in the bottom right whether the particular component is functional or not. Right click to get out of that menu. This is what I want to look at. This is actually build info, I think. Yeah, I think this is build info. So when we get close enough and we see that this is selected, over here in the top right you see drill number 3, and then it gives you the particulars about that. But at the bottom you can see that it says specialized overlays are available. Hit Control plus to cycle. This is really good for thrusters, and I'll show it to you when we do our thrusters to figure out where thruster damage, the range of the thruster is. But what I've read about and what I want to see is here with drills, it can show you what the drill pattern is. Now that's the only problem. You pull away from it, you can't see it. We'll see if we can do it this way. Now you have to have your HUD turned on. Okay. So the green is the area that gets mined, how large a hole gets mined when you are left click mining, or actually collecting material. If you are tunneling, that is carving. And you can see the red is the larger area. Why do I bring this up? Because when you're placing your drills, and you want to make sure you don't leave any gaps. And when I say gaps, there's nothing worse than building a miner, especially if it's a horizontal miner, and you're out in space, and you go to do the asteroid, to drill out an asteroid, and you've got a drill on either side of your cockpit, and as you try to go in to get the 30 to 40 meters that you got to go to get to the uranium that you want to harvest, the drills are just far enough apart that it doesn't take out enough stone in the middle to let your cockpit get by. So this overlay allows you to see the size of the collection area so that you can properly overlap your collection zones. So see the, okay, so you got the red radius, you've got the mining radius, and then in the dark gray here, say entity detection radius. I think this is how close it can be before it starts destroying blocks or damaging blocks. That may not be correct, but I believe that's what they're talking about there. So I just wanted to show you that overlay. So looking at this, we can probably move this drill back at least a block, if not two, and we should be fine. We'll go ahead and drop back in. We're gonna go ahead and remove this overlay. This second overlay is the mount points. You have your ports, so you can see where the ports are, and then you can turn them off. So yeah, we may be able to move this back some. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that. Get rid of this. I'm also going to get rid of, I think I'm going to have to get rid of these. Yep, we'll have to do those over again. Alright, so I'm going to put a conveyor junction here, which is going to bump this out. And again, I'm not actually connecting anything with that conveyor junction. I'm just spacing the large cargo container out. Just had a second thought. No, we're going to change that. Okay, I'm going to add a component that is not necessary on an Earth-like planet or any planet that has breathable oxygen. But you do have planets that do not have breathable oxygen, that do have atmospheres. And in that case, you're going to want to have an oxygen and hydrogen generator. So we're going to add an O2H2 generator to our bar. And this is going to allow us to do something a little different. This may be the way to go here. That is going to push back to, if I put the junction rotate it, I can move the cargo container up. Again, it doesn't matter that it's a small, port. I just know that I need to make sure I have the large conveyor port on the back. Hmm. Not sure I'm a big fan of that right now. Huh. I'll do it quick. Yeah, we should be fine on that. Different idea. Try this here. Yeah, I feel better about that. 3. We'll go ahead and hook this guy up. That guy. I need an extra spot in there. So let's add, we'll go ahead and add our ore detector as well as our antenna. And we're going to do that right here. That's not a mounting place. That's pointed down, no big deal. We can mount. We can mount a gyro there. That's what these blue spots are, places we can mount. We can mount there also. Kind of want to protect the gyros, so maybe it's not a bad idea to put them in here. We'll go ahead and put it like that. 2. We're going to need an extra Now we'll put our conveyor junction in. Let's make that symmetrical. And our large cargo container on top. Large, large, large. Okay. Now the good thing is we have room on top if we need to add anything. We have plenty of separation on the bottom. And I think we're going to have plenty of room for some motors. So let's go ahead and get our drill set up here. And this might be close, so yeah, that's going to be close. We'll see. We'll see. We got a large cargo container, though. Let's go ahead and see about throwing an engine in there. You can see there, with this overlay, it shows you the area of thrust damage. So if I were to put this here, you can see as we get closer to the ground, it will, you can see exactly how far you've got to go before you start to run into issues. I think we're going to go right here. I'm going to go high, just because. The reason I did that is we will be able to put additional thrusters for lateral movement in between here. So let's go to the small. See, same thing. Lateral movement is important in your miners. Don't underestimate its importance. Now for a plunge miner, one of the difference between doing a horizontal miner is reverse thrust is not as important. You just need to make sure you have enough vertical thrust to get you where you need to go. But so far we're looking pretty good right now. You do want to be able to slow yourself down. So reverse thrust is still important in that sense. So far, one of the things that I had not anticipated that looks like we're going to benefit from is we're actually going to have room to put an oxygen tank. And now rear thrust. I thought I saw a tank on here. Oxygen tank. And since we have a large opening there, we can put the large opening down. Sticks up a little bit, but that's not a big deal for a vertical plunge miner. We've pretty much got all of the essentials here. We just need a connector on the back to be able to offload this thing. So there you go. What we need to do is we need to test to see if these drills are able to drill out a hole that will allow us to continue to go down without damaging any of this stuff in the middle. So that's what we're going to be finding out. But I think I already have a way to fix that. And it won't mess with any of the symmetry. Yep, okay. Let's hit the conveyors up again. We're going to drop that. We're going to get rid of that and that. We're going to leave that one. We're going to add... I'm going to make this a T, just because it works at that spot. It does not work here with this one, but it does work with that one. And now we're going to add another drill. We're going to rotate it. And look what we got. 5 drills. I think that's going to work great. Let's make sure we got everything. We've got power. We have control. Our 2 gyros in the middle there protected. We've got an ore detector. We've got an antenna. We've got our thrust. And we got our drills. We got a connector so we can offload. We've got oxygen and hydrogen. And we still have a lot of room we could stick stuff. Ooh. So if 2 large ATMOs are not going to be enough to lift this off the ground with a full load, we've got room we can put, and we can actually do it right here. We can add more lift thrusters without changing our profile. It doesn't get, I mean, we are exactly, I do see where we might have an issue. This connector sticks out a pretty decent way. I don't know if this is going to drill out enough to allow that connector to go through. I would say it's not. That looks like it's not. So we may need another drill. Not the perfect way to do it, but that does work. That covers the middle. That covers the outside. It covers the length. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I think we're going to be good there. Alright. I'm going to take a second to set up a control bar. We're going to take this on a test run. So I'll set this up and I'll be back in a sec. We're going to disconnect the miner. It obviously can lift itself. It's holding itself in the air. That's great. And now we're going to test this. So that's decent acceleration. Very good forward acceleration. Up is no issue. We're using 55% for up though. If you look at our bottom right, we've got our power consumption. Wow, forward is 73. Slowing down is 59. Up is 55. We don't have down. We're letting gravity do that. Yeah, 55 is our normal full lift. It's left and right. 53. That makes sense. Now we got to do a check of up, left, and forward. Yeah, we're at okay. So you can see we need more power. 73 right there. That is. Yeah, we need more power. And the good thing is we have plenty of room to add power. So That power usage is extremely important, because if you have a grid that draws more power than it has available, what it does is it starts siphoning, it starts rationing that power. And the last thing you want is something that is controlling your ship. It could be remote control, it could be timing. You don't want a critical piece to be the part that gets rationed, and then you find yourself in a bad situation. So let's see, we're docked up there. We need a battery. It's probably a good idea to have two, and fortunately we have this nice big space right here on either side. We can do that, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to add two more batteries. You can add one if you want, for symmetry's sake. That's why I am adding two. One there and one here. I could have moved that forward, but I want to leave that slot open just in case we need more upward lift. I did put that there. We go, just like that. Now I have no doubt that that's going to be more than enough power, and we should be good there. Alright, so 3. We're going to turn on again. We're going to turn everything on because I want as much load to be on this as possible. We're going to go forward. Our gyros work pretty good. We'll see how that is when we have a full load of ore. But let's see. 28 now. I think we're going to be good. If we're at 28, we were at 55 before. So we're going forward and left right now. We're at 50. We're going to raise. We're at 68, 67, 37 to slow down. I think we're going to be good there. But now we need to give it a shot drilling. So let's find a spot out of the way to actually, let's turn on our, we've got our ore detector on. But what we need to do is we need to extend the range. We'll find us some ore. Okay, so we found some silver. And it's about 50 meters deep. Well, we'll say probably closer to 35. That's probably right. We get lined over it. Oh, fine. That's not too bad. Okay. So we're going to check to see. We're going to start by tunneling our way down, seeing how big a hole this clears, and then once we get down to the silver, we'll mine a full load, which is again 15,600. It's 15,000. I think it's 15,600. 15,625 for the cargo container. But now we have 8 drills. Each one of those drills has the same capacity, liters wise, as a medium small grid cargo container. We've got 8 of those. So if we fill this thing up and it can still lift itself out of the hole, we know we've got enough thrust. If it can't, we know we need to add more. So let's do it. We're going to tunnel first. I have no doubt this is going to be big enough for us to get through. That's stone. The one thing we have not added to this that you probably should is or our lights. Because we turned off sun rotation, it is nice and bright out, easy to see, but once you get down into these holes, it is not the same. So, some cobalt, nice. It'd be good to have lights on the exterior, as well as pointing down in the direction you're going to be drilling, of course forward the way you're going to be moving when you transport back, but just to kind of fill these areas with light so that you can see what you're doing. Alright, so now we are going to load up using our left click, our collection or our mining bit. We are going to fill this ship to capacity. Now we'll know when it's at capacity because just over your command bar you'll see the two little lines, like progress lines. One is the drill on the top, and then the next one is the I think that's a component icon from the production key. But the lower one is your ship's cargo capacity. The top is the drill's cargo capacity. So as the drill grabs stone or whatever ore it's picking up, it pushes it to the cargo. When the cargo is full, the drills can't push it anywhere, so they fill up. We want to fill both of these bars. So far it looks like the hole we're drilling is big enough for us to continue to move down without damaging the ship. Maybe. It's a little bit of a wedge right here in the middle on the side. I'm not sure if that's going to clip our engine or not. Okay, our cargo capacity is almost full. And now our drills are beginning to fill. The drills will fill fast. And as they start to get closer, okay, we are now, gravity is pulling us down despite our, so if we continue to drill, it's just going to keep dropping us in the hole, which means there's no way we can lift out. So, our full weight right now, 115 or 116,000 tons almost. I think that's what that is. But we know we're not going to be able to pull it out. Okay, we're not going to. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and turn off, because we're resting on the bottom right now. We're going to go ahead and turn our engines off. And we know we're going to have to add more thrust. And this is why I suggest doing this in a creative world. Here, you can make the changes on the fly until you get the result that you need. In a survival situation, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we're going to put these right in here. And we're going to add 4 of these small thrusters. And once we get them added here, I will we'll go in. We're going to use build vision to turn them off so that they're in the same state of operation as the other engines, and then we will add them to the group. Ah, man. It's alright. Too high. There. Yeah, down one. Turn that off. So Build Vision is such an amazing tool to have in your reservoir there. Alright, so let's add that and see if that's going to be enough to get us where we need to go. Plunge Miner ATMOs, and we should have 4 that are not included. There they are. Control, click each of those, and we're going to go over here to save. Okay, so now when we hit that and we try to lift out, look at that, we are able to lift out and we are almost completely full. So let's go ahead and see if we can continue to, let's see if we can fill the cargo completely and the drills completely. Looks like it's not going to let us fill them completely, but we are almost, that's going to be like 99% full. I am upward thrust. We're still getting, those 4 engines gave us decent I mean, that worked out just fine. Okay, so we have a full load there. A little slow getting started on the lift, but it is more than enough. We'll head back over toward our build platform, and on our way over there we're going to test how well our gyros handle maneuvering us in a full state. I'm going to turn our reverse thrusters off so that we can just kind of cruise along. We're still accelerating pretty good. Now let's see what we got. A little slower, but not sluggish by any means. Let's see if we can rotate. Not too bad. Of course, when you're moving, it's easier to rotate, so. Now we'll turn our reverse thrusters back on so we can slow down. Ooh, 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 ooh. Put your drills down. Okay. So we had too much momentum in order to slow us down. And I said put your drills down. Okay. Drills can take an immense amount of damage. So if you're going to collide with something in a miner, you want the drills to be the part that makes initial contact. That's at least my recommendation. Now, if you hit it hard enough, it doesn't matter if you got the drills take a lot of damage or not. And if the drills are full, like ours are, there's no telling what may happen when that drill gets destroyed. If it's full and it suddenly blows up and releases a huge boulder of stone or whatnot, there's no telling what's going to happen. That could end up being a catastrophic failure. But if you're going to fall, if you're falling or you're going to collide with something in a miner, try to put the drills facing whatever it is you're going to hit, and that will hopefully reduce the amount of damage you take. You may survive it completely like we did there. So, alright, so when we plugged in, you saw that our drills automatically unloaded. Everything automatically pulled into, well, the drills at least. Let's take a look at our ship's inventory and see what we pulled out of there. I gotta find my cursor. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so our connector, our cabs still have materials in it. The drill's emptied. It does not empty the cargo containers. We had a lot of stone, and we had a good amount of silver. Not a huge amount of silver, but a good amount of silver. So it just emptied the drills, and the drills had stone in them. So I think the test flight went well. It might not be a bad idea to have one more gyro. It might. It's also worth considering perhaps adding some additional down thrust. And that being the case, probably the best place to put that is going to be back here. Well guys, that's going to wrap this portion of our ATMO, Plunge, or Quarry miner build. In the future, we'll take this platform and we'll add some additional components for some other capabilities like automated mining. Also, we will possibly look at adding some other components to make your mining more efficient, like sorters and ejectors, or possibly some mods like stone dusters. But that's for another video. I hope you guys like this video. I know it's kind of long for what I would consider a simple build, but that's just what it is. This was a build, a test, and go from there. So this design will be one that I use in our Cascadia Dreams series. And I'll probably actually have, if everything goes well, we'll go ahead and add probably up to 4 of these and kind of have a fleet of automated miners. But I just wanted to show you my process. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor, click that like, subscribe, notification bell, as well as share if you know somebody that might like the content. And if you got any suggestions, questions, you know, things you saw that I did that I can improve on. I know I got the one extra engine on the left side. I'll balance that out. I don't know if we really need that 5th one. So, but just leave it in the comments if you got something for me. I appreciate it. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and always, always be safe. Remember, close your visor, and don't forget your dampeners. I'll see you on the other side. But until then, I should go.